This is the Yorkshire Businesswoman podcast, supporting, inspiring and promoting women in business.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Yorkshire Businesswoman podcast. I am delighted to have here today Brogan Huntington, who is the proud owner of two very, very successful businesses in the North East, and she has been recently appointed as the Northern Businesswoman editor. With two very successful businesses already under her belt, she's a devoted mum of one and an advocate for all things to do with business, leadership and opportunities, definitely for the Northern Businesswoman, and I am so looking forward to hearing more about her incredible journey today. So welcome, Brogan.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
That's what we like to hear. So let's kick off with the very organic and natural first question, Brogan. How did your journey begin in your career in marketing adventures and the vehicle industry?
Yeah, so, I was working it out actually while you were talking then. I have been in the automotive industry now for the past 13 years and in marketing for 6. So it all began, I actually went to purchase a vehicle and then took a massive interest in selling cars.
Really?
And literally started to sell cars while I was purchasing my first ever car with my mum in tow. The managing director of the dealership at the time said, you should come and work for us, because obviously I was gobby and just non-stop talking, and I love people actually, and that obviously shined through, and they gave me my first job. So I walked out with a car and my first job, and it kind of spiraled from there. I started as a salesperson. I then qualified in the finance department, and then I was selling warranties on top of doing all of the finance. And from there, I just showed a real interest in the whole approach, the holistic approach to selling vehicles. And then social media came along and I started selling supercars on social media.
I never knew this about you, Brogan, so this is so interesting.
Yeah, it's not very often that anybody asks me.
Women
about
are so
the automotive.
underrepresented in the automotive industry per se.
Yeah.
But to have somebody like yourself, I know you as Marketing Adventures, but now to learn about this other dimension that not many people know about, actually, Brogan.
No.
Continue to talk more about this.
There's some incredible women. I mean, I've got some amazing friends that sell vehicles and actually run the dealerships as well. Mini Cooper in Durham's ran by an amazing young woman who actually started after me and has just progressed and progressed and progressed. No, there's some incredible women in the automotive industry.
Where are they hiding? Because I am on social media and I do see from time to time usually positions that are not very senior, actually, more commentators and presenters, but the women tend to be quite low key.
Yeah, I think maybe we make it our mission to bring them out of the woodwork.
I think so, Brogan. I think you have a mission there. But when you're talking supercars, tell me what kind of cars.
Yeah, so I was selling Ferraris, Lambos, McLaren.
Lambos.
Yes.
And were these to actual face-to-face customers?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it started on social media. And then obviously they came into the dealership and the sale progressed. But yeah, that was where my love for marketing started. And then I switched roles and I was doing a very marketing partnership, PR type role, and it was in collaboration with one company. And then I got introduced to Auto Trader and I started to study marketing and PR. And then when lockdown came, a lot of the people that I was working with asked me if I could help them get online. So I thought, oh my God, this is an interesting space. Like, I wonder what I can do here. And throughout the time of me working within the automotive industry, building up my marketing and PR journalism career, I got introduced to a lot of people that held us strong connections as we moved forward. So I started to just utilise them. And although I was in a marketing and partnership role, I hadn't really explored that area because I was just working for one company. And then it massively progressed whilst I was still on furlough. And
so it's relatively new, isn't it, your marketing adventures journey?
5 years. Yeah, it's how long the marketing agency has been going for.
Well, I look at what you're doing and I'm very impressed. In 5 years, that trajectory has been pretty steep, Brogan. You've gained some real traction in the industry. In the Northeast, you've got quite a big representation, but I also see you've got quite a big footprint in Yorkshire as well now. So it's interesting how you've married coming from a background in sales.
Yeah.
And then that's progressed into acquiring, I suppose, the marketing agency through the contacts that you were working with. Was that an easy transition?
It was actually, yeah, I mustn't lie. It was an easy transition. I got really lucky, I think, with the people that I was surrounded with. And also the work that I was delivering, there was a demand. So at the time, obviously COVID had happened, the dealerships had closed, businesses had closed. And I was of a mindset of this is the time now where I'm going to make a big splash in the water. And I just tried my best and it kind of worked. And previous to that as well, my partner had already set up a vehicle conversion company. So I'd already been doing all of the ads, the marketing, the websites and everything for him. Even though I wasn't really trained in that area, it was kind of experience of what I'd produced and they were working because I understood it and I was really interested in it. So I kind of combined everything into one. And when we first set out with, when we first set out with Marketing Adventures, it was just myself at the time. It was focused in the automotive industry. But what happened was because I was doing it for one person, they were telling somebody else and they were telling somebody else. And we ended up with food, beverage, property.
So interesting. The natural evolution.
Yeah,
I agree. It's definitely about being in the right place and the right time. And I think what you said about being in furlough and lockdown, a lot of businesses did start, from I suppose it being at home. But it's brilliant to see that it's not just what I've said about people around you. You had to have that drive.
Yes.
So you're obviously very passionate about those two industries. Yeah. Kind of, they're quite disparate, the automotive and marketing adventures. But what you've just said makes sense, really, that they came together very, very naturally. So do these two industries complement each other? Obviously you're doing a lot around vehicle conversion. Tell me a little bit more about that.
The vehicle conversion, I guess to answer your question in short is yes, because that industry is very similar to the automotive industry. It needs marketing, it needs publicising, and it's a digital world that we live in now, and a lot of people buy vehicles and see vehicles online. And the vehicle conversion company itself it's a very distinct market, but it's mostly B2B. So it's commercial vehicles. So we convert vans into taxis, wheelchair access. We do Land Rover commercials. We fit seats in the back of them. Minibuses. We do, I'm trying to think what else, motorhomes.
The logistics of that, I mean, that just sounds like a minefield. How do you start? For example, if I came to you with my car and said, right, I want all of these seats ripping out and I want a completely new colour, is that the kind of thing you do?
No, so it would need to be classed as a commercial vehicle or a taxi. So if you were to, we don't deal with just normal cars other than the Land Rovers, but again, that's still a commercial vehicle, so we would fit the seats in the back of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you obviously have contacts in the industry who support what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm not going to take the credit for that side of things. It's definitely George, my partner.
Okay.
He deals with all the day-to-day connections, partnerships when it comes to that. He also is a qualified joiner, so he pretty much sketches out, builds, does everything, and then he's got a team of really, really good guys that helps him convert them. And then you've got the council side of things for the taxis. You've got regulations that you've got to adhere to.
Can you imagine?
And they kind of set the scene there, but then it's partnerships with your local councils, but there's a demand for it, and there's not
Again,
not
I
many
would
of us doing
never
it.
have thought so. I mean, when I sit in my car, it's all about the ergonomics. Is it comfy? I'm quite small, so is it high enough? Is that the kind of thing that you take, kind of that you look into? Again, just from a male-female perspective, I've sat in cars which are very, very much, or I think they have been designed for men.
Yeah.
Supercars for sure.
Yeah.
They definitely have a very masculinity about them. And when a woman sits in them, the ergonomics don't necessarily match. Is that something that you think about when you do these conversions?
I think it's a conversation that myself and my partner have a lot of the time. For instance, one that sticks in my mind while we're speaking there is the fact that the motorhomes regeneration of them now, we would take, for instance, a big Sprinter van, and we would do the whole fit out. George designed it, made it look amazing. No mirrors.
No mirrors.
And I'm like, where do I do my hair?
That's not good. That would be the first thing especially if you're going on a long break in a motorhome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The whole purpose of having your own, I suppose it's home from home, really, isn't it? It's not camping.
Yeah.
So one of the requirements would be shower.
Yes.
I'm hoping there is a shower.
Yeah, there is a shower.
Good. And then there is a mirror to do your makeup and your hair.
Yeah, there was a
Elementary
toilet mirror.
Brogan.
Toilet mirror, but obviously no plugs. So
Okay.
I'm like, where's the mirror for my hair?
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but yeah. I'm hoping that you installed all of these
We
things.
did. Yeah,
Good.
we did.
And you do see some beautiful motorhomes on the road now.
Yeah, it's
And
been a big boom.
do you think that came from lockdown?
COVID, yeah.
It did, yes.
I mean, he's been making incredible motorhomes for years, but lockdown really, it saw two sides of it, I think. And it's difficult to watch at the same time, because it also brought the people that were building, we call them homemade camper vans, on their drives, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it also pushed the market up and pushed the prices up, and it made it, in some respect, a bit more difficult for the professional manufacturers, because there was
Yes.
people offering
Bespoke.
bespoke and maybe not as well equipped with longevity as what the professional manufacturers were. I think that's kind of ironed out now, and actually
Good.
what's happened is it's lifted the market to the point where everybody knows about it now. Everybody wants a van. Van life is a thing now.
It's become very trendy again on social media. I am seeing some very quirky design work going on,
Yeah.
which doesn't appear to be regulated, but I don't think it needs to be really. It's not like cars, is it, where you have to have a very specific and definitive layout for safety? Is that the same with motorhomes? Do you need those same safety features
If you're
embedded?
fitting seats,
Yes.
then and the beds, yes.
And one of the things that struck me is you're not allowed to have any passengers asleep
No,
while you're driving.
No. Yeah, no, that's illegal.
That's interesting. You learn a whole, I suppose you go into a whole new world of learning when you talk about motorhomes. And there's so much more to you, Brogan. I know we've started to talk, we've gone down the rabbit hole of
We have.
motorhomes,
It's
but
good though.
I want to talk more about you as an individual, because you also have a lot of very inspiring things about you, Brogan. For somebody of such a young age, you've taken on quite a lot in terms of what you're doing now. I will get to it, to do with the Northern Businesswoman, but
Yeah.
just leading up to that, just that role in itself requires a huge amount of understanding, experience, and again, I'll say this not in a patronising way, but leadership.
Mm.
Leadership is something that I don't necessarily even think is assigned to age. It's about skill set and how you are with people. Do you own that quality? Because clearly with the experience you have, you exude leadership. And how do you feel being in a position of advocacy and leadership? How does that feel?
Oh, that's a hard question, I think, to answer.
It's quite loaded. Let me break it down. So in terms of your role, your role as advocacy, which is what you're doing in your new role in the Northern Businesswoman.
I think in terms of leadership, what that means to me is potentially a little bit different to the question that you're asking. But we were having this, myself and a colleague was having this conversation the other day, and I try not to see myself in a higher position than anybody else. It's just all equal. I have a very clear, I guess, not for a long time, I don't think I was very clear on my values and where I was going. But now I really am. After having my little boy, I got really clear on what actually matters to me as a person and what I want out of life. And what I want to leave behind as a legacy, really. And it's more just supporting people and help build other people up. So in terms of leadership, it's a really hard one for me.
I think maybe because we perceive leadership as something that's assigned to somebody that is responsible for managing huge numbers of people and expectations. Yeah. But there is a micro level as well, Brogan. And in terms of when you are, for example, a new client, they have an expectation of you to be led. Yeah. And I think that's more of what I meant in terms of your, I suppose, day-to-day interactions with your client.
Yeah.
Singular. But now in your new role as a kind of editor of this incredible Up North magazine, the Yorkshire Businesswoman became the Northern Businesswoman through you. And is that something that you feel you own yet?
I think it's not really hit me yet, but I think of it more of a movement. So it's more about, it's been in my mind for so long. So I was raised and brought up in Durham. I had a business based out of Middlesbrough. I have some incredibly inspirational people that I completely admire, live in the north and have built huge businesses in Newcastle, Durham, Middlesbrough and across the northeast as a whole. And I think for women in business in particular, we need to learn to champion ourselves. Like even just there when we were speaking about leadership, I'm like, ooh, don't like it.
I saw it and I felt it, yeah.
But I think I can help other people learn how to embrace self-promotion and also embrace the fact that they're doing a bloody grand job. So yeah, I'm excited about what Northern Businesswoman stands for. I think it'll allow people, not because they haven't got a voice, because I think a lot of these women, they've got their own voice. But it's given them a platform where they can educate and help other women as well that are maybe not as further on in the journey as what they are, and also give them access to their knowledge, again, that they might not necessarily have. Because I think when you know people and you do have access to the knowledge that they have and the experience that they have within business, I mean, that's vital. But if you're somebody that's starting out in business, or maybe you've had a business for a couple of years and you still haven't had the ability to get in front of those people because there's nothing there to give you access, then that is what Northern Businesswoman is going to do. And it will hopefully help everybody come together and champion each other on.
So it's like a conduit, really, a kind of a vehicle.
Yeah.
For want of a better word, pardon the pun. It is a vehicle for people to be united through. And again, in terms of I use this word, I keep using this word leadership because when people approach you, they do come with the expectation of being navigated through this world of self-promotion. So you're kind of banging the drum, Brogan.
Yeah.
And in the north and the northeast particularly, the area that you're working in, it's quite complex. It's a very, very different demographic for a start. to Yorkshire. So obviously being from Durham and the Northeast, you would understand that demographic quite well. Do you think it differs working in both regions, Yorkshire and the Northeast? What's different and what about those two kind of, I suppose it's a way of thinking?
I'm not sure that there's any major difference across the divides. However, I think and I don't know whether it's just because I was brought up there, but there's a definite sense of more strong community in the Northeast.
I felt that having worked there in Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I think there's something there where they want everybody to do well, so they champion each other. So for instance, a lot of the time when I'm working with businesses in Middlesbrough, we'll get the mayor along. And if they're creating jobs or if they bring in traffic or there's investment, like everybody wants to back that because what it means to them is it's lifting where they have came from and they're uber proud of that. Where in Yorkshire, not that it doesn't go on, because I'm sure that it does, but there's already a sense of they're already there. But the communities are just as strong. So what I want to do really with Northern Businesswoman, and certainly Jill does as well, is combine Northern Businesswoman and Yorkshire Businesswoman and make it accessible to everybody. So there's some incredible things happening in the Northeast, and there is also the economic side of things is booming as well as Yorkshire is.
Absolutely.
So why not make it an opportunity for both?
Definitely.
So I guess instead of there being a division, we want it to be collaborative. So we can get people from the Northeast to the Yorkshire Businesswoman events, and the Yorkshire Businesswoman events can come to the Northeast. So we've just then made what was potentially a small pool huge.
Into a much bigger one. And it's not geographically that far when you think about it. I mean, what is it? Literally.
We've travelled here this morning, so it's been 50 minutes.
50 minutes. It's nothing really, is it?
No.
So it's like South Yorkshire and North Yorkshire, I guess, but it seems so far away.
Yes.
But at the same time, so close, Brogan.
Mm-hmm. And there's some incredible businesses there. Like, it blows my mind. I'm such a champion.
Are you allowed to say which businesses in particular or which industries do you feel are kind of really booming up in the Northeast?
Property is massive in the Northeast.
Really?
Yeah, property.
And is it internal investment or is it at
UK people investing in the UK?
Into any international kind of investment?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good to know as well.
Yeah, we work with a couple of property companies and people that deal with investment. And I was actually on a podcast last Tuesday, and the gentleman that I was on the podcast with was speaking about the fact that he brought £3 billion worth of investment into the UK onto a project. And it just blows my mind because until you actually hear it, it's like it doesn't happen.
No.
Because the news doesn't talk about that. It should, but it doesn't. And
you wonder where all this, it's not actual physical money floated, it's just kind of almost a notional kind of figure that's floating around, but people are able to access that notional kind of investment, and it's partnerships as well. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that is very male dominated, or is it something that women are doing as well? Do you find that, again, you're a Northern business woman, we can't forget that.
Yes.
So in terms of these very successful businesses, are they women leading them?
I think it's a bit of both. I don't really feel the separation as much as I guess some people do, but I go in it head first. So regardless of you're male or female, I'm there for it. But I have one woman that springs into my mind in particular who I just think is absolutely incredible. She's a mum of two. She has a investment company. She founded a bank. And I'm just like, you literally blow my mind. Like, how do you do what you do? But she's amazing, and she's from the Northeast, and she's just superwoman. Like, I look at her and I think you're just incredible. So there is a mix, is
Good.
What I would say. I think, again, it comes down to self-promotion. I think that men and women complement each other in these industries, and I think we should speak about it more. And women should show other women that we can just go for it just as much as men
I like
can.
that. I like what you've just said about, the male and female energy complementing each other, because, so long it has been very competitive, or, it's been male dominated, as I've mentioned. But it's nice to hear you say that there is now, the balance is being redressed. Just moving on to the very specific role of editor.
Yes.
Again, it's a big title and some big shoes to fill, given that Jill is the editor of the Yorkshire Businesswoman.
I know.
But at the same time, she's so amenable.
Yeah.
And somebody that you can look and learn from.
Yes.
Are you finding the transition from being in the business world and marketing adventures into the world of editing? How did you find that?
I think that they complement each other really well. I think because marketing adventures has been such a big part of my life, and I'm passionate about that sort of thing, I've always had the energy put aside for something like this. I just didn't know when it was going to be or what it was going to be until this opportunity came knocking. And a big thank you to you for that, actually, Freda. And I think that the transition, it's been hard. Like, I won't lie. It's not been easy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found most difficult is getting other people to believe in, I know that I'm keep calling it a movement and actually it's a magazine, but I strongly believe it is a movement.
I like that too, Brogan. I think it's good to have lots of different ways to see the magazine. Again, I often use the word conduit, and a conduit is something that connects and is a very natural transition from being visible and tangible, like you are in front of me now, and a conduit just transforms your physical presence into a different manifestation on paper.
Yeah.
And that can often really frighten people, or it can make them feel so incredibly inspired and excited to see themselves on the front cover of a magazine. Yep. But you and I know, having had that platform, if we can do it, we bang the drum for others to do it as well.
Literally.
But isn't it a beautiful thing to see people's faces light up when you talk about having a physical presence, like I said, in something that is actual?
They can pick it up.
See it in a the Northern businesswoman, the Yorkshire businesswoman, is left in so many amazing places and supermarkets and hotels. So, and I, having been in it, I know I get recognised. And
it is. I just think it's incredible, and I think it's getting the message out there for more people to understand what it's about, what it does, and why they should get involved. Obviously, if they want to. But what it can actually bring to the table for them.
It brings a lot. I know, having my 15 minutes of fame in the Yorkshire Businesswoman, I still use it as it opens a lot of doors, and people kind of hopefully see it not something to be afraid of, but so accessible. And again, I'll say it again, if I can do it, I feel as though that platform is there for anybody, irrespective of whether they are a startup, established, or in a powerful position of being, an established, very long time business. It's there for everybody. And I think it's fabulous that you can incorporate it. And I remember when I spoke to you about it initially, and I said, Brogan, you are ideal for this job because it's just the most natural thing for you to do, to bang the drum, which you're already banging, but just to do that with a different framework of Northern Businesswoman. And I know you've already started to do it, and I just see incredible things coming from it as well, just from that first edition, which is brilliant. And having a lovely first front cover of... it's Denise Walsh.
Yeah, that was a big, it's so cool.
She's a good ambassador for the Northeast, isn't she?
God, amazing. So I remember when I first got it, so we had an award ceremony on the 17th of October. It was ABC Awards in Newcastle. And I picked it up, and I'm not joking, I must have been like a kid at Christmas. It was ridiculous. But because we'd worked so hard on it, and when I say we, I mean myself, Jill, Rob, Sharon and Amar, we'd worked so hard on producing this magazine, and then it was in front of me, and I was like, wow. And then I turned the pages, and then obviously you've got the editor's notes. I was like, oh my God, that's me. That's me, I'm there.
That's you, Brogan. You need to own that. Sorry, you wear the hat.
Yeah, and I took it home to my little boy, and I opened the page. I said, "Who's that? Who's that on there?" And he's like, "Mama!" And I was like, "I'm keeping this magazine forever."
You see, I see you taking it even to a different level because you have a lot of expertise in that world. So there's no reason why you can't have that photo on a billboard somewhere as well, Brogan. And again, with your contacts and expertise, that's kind of what we expect of you, Brogan.
Yeah, thanks for that, Freda. Thank you for that.
You need to raise the bar.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do my best, actually. I'm going to do my best. So I've got a big vision, and as is Jill and Rob, for what the magazine can achieve with the help from yourself as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Don't you go running
It's a
away.
natural, no, but it is a very natural transition from what you're doing, but again, having the client base and the clientele and to have their presence in a completely different kind of format, it's just a no-brainer to me. And people I work with in my own capacity as a consultant doing what I do in the food industry, and then giving them a platform in the magazine, I think that's how I sold it to you.
Yeah, it was.
I said, it's a magazine, Brogan. I didn't quite tell you about the small print.
No.
But I knew you'd take it on effortlessly.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful for it.
But that's, it's good to see that you're running with it, actually, and doing what you're doing. And that first edition has been so successful. And we're looking forward to the next edition as well. Yeah. And again, just what you said, it's the Northern and the Yorkshire complement each other. And there are a lot of national features that go in there as well, which is also good to see. So moving on to another area, Brogan, and as a woman, again, very specifically to do with being a woman and working and being a mother. How do you consolidate having all these, I suppose we do really, but how do you specifically consolidate family life, work life, and do you think the industry that you're in supports that?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, really, really hard.
I love seeing your beautiful baby Hamilton whenever we meet. So, I love that. But do you think when you go out and about in your meetings, it's almost a natural thing to take Hamilton with you?
I think that what I said earlier about prior to Hamilton, not really knowing my core values and not particularly knowing where I was off, or I knew I wanted big things, but didn't really streamline it. And then after Hamilton, you just get this profound meaning, like self-meaning. I don't know whether that's the right word or not, but I just got this is what I am designed to do.
The lens changes when you become a mother.
It's crazy. And I think, again, the transition took some time because I was all over the place, and I fought with myself for a long time of, this is Brogan businesswoman and this is Brogan as a mum, and I have to do whatever I can to support my child versus I'm not spending any time with my child. He only sees me on my phone. He only sees me on my laptop. And I think being in the media industry and being able to work from wherever you want to is kind of, it's got some, it's a devil in some respect, because it takes away from family life very quickly. And I realised there was a turning point for me where I just realised that I was destroying myself. And
really?
Yes. Oh my God. I was working non-stop whilst trying to look after my little boy. And I thought, okay, this needs to give. Something just needs to give. And it was more about me building a routine around, right, this is home life, this is work.
Do you have a definitive boundary?
I'm working on it.
It's very difficult.
I'm working on it. I definitely try.
That wasn't a judging question because, I struggle.
Yeah.
And it is hard and it's very tempting to take on new contracts and you just feel it's going to be an easy thing, but it's often not.
It's not easy, but...
And I see how dedicated you are as a mother as well.
Yeah.
I can't ever imagine you having multiple nannies.
No, I just, he doesn't go to nursery either, which is, again, my mum's like, you need to put him in nursery, Brogan. I'm like, no, he's not, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not there.
Oh, good for you for making that stand.
Yeah. So I think without going off on another tangent, when I got really clear on what mattered to me and what I wanted to leave behind, I didn't want him to see his mummy stressed all the time and on my phone and on my laptop constantly, because I felt like that was I needed to give him attention then. So I made some rules and some boundaries. And when I speak to people, if they're not okay on the days that I have Hamilton with me, if they're not okay with me bringing him and that's fine, I'm okay with that. I'll just be open and I'll just say, I'm really sorry I have my child that day. I don't have any childcare, but I'm free Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if you want to meet then. Equally, if you want, we can meet on Thursday and Friday, but I have my little one in tow. He's good as gold. If he's not, I'll apologise and I'll leave.
No, but it's just a delight to see that, you can, and it is possible.
It is.
I don't know if juggle is the right word because it has, some connotations of not necessarily firing on all cylinders, but juggling is what we do as mothers.
Yeah.
And as professionals now, and you cannot get away from that, that phone call or whatever it is, irrespective of whether you have your child in tow or not. The phone is always there in case the school is calling or in case there's, something else to do with the children. And I think that the industry and employers are becoming more amenable to that. And with you being your own boss, I'm sure it is helpful as well.
I think it makes a massive difference with the people that you've got around you as well. If you've got a good team and a good support network at home, which I'm lucky that I have, that makes a huge difference. Myself and Bethany were actually in the office. My mum is my number one childcare, and George, Hamilton's dad. We kind of just make it work.
Yeah.
But my mum and dad had gone on holiday, for instance, last week, and myself and Bethany were in the office, and I'm there creating a den whilst trying to help Bethany with her work. And then we were kind of like mixing it up. So if I had to do something important, she was building the den. So I think when you're your own boss, you have to design your own life.
Absolutely. And you know what? These moments are so transient. I look at photos of my children from 10 years ago and you do feel that pang of guilt.
Yeah.
So if I have any advice, it is to maximize on every moment you have with Hamilton, because it does literally within a blink of an eye. And sadly, that is something we cannot get away from primordially. And I'm talking our instinct and our inner values as mothers and as women. As successful and as busy as we become in our roles, you can't get away from the maternal instinct.
No.
So what you're doing is brilliant. You're embracing it and you're incorporating it. You strike me as somebody that would never let the guilt consume you, because I know that you give Hamilton 100%.
Yeah, I think to be completely transparent, I think at first it did. And then I realised what was happening. I was like, this needs to just stop. Like, we just need to press the reset button here, because he's the most important thing in my life. And then I've designed everything to fit around him, and it works.
Good. And you mentioned Bethany. You've obviously taken on more staff.
Yeah.
How's that working? Are you expanding, Brogan?
I am trying to, yeah. I think, like I said earlier, people are the most important asset, in my opinion. in the business. And I've come to find that very recently, actually, that having the right support, having the right team, enables a business to grow. It keeps relationships. It brings new ideas. It allows for you to have a life outside of work. And also, again, going back to what I said, it enables you to have the ability to push other people on and give them platforms in order for them to expand. And referring to Bethany, yeah, it's going very well, and she's amazing.
So from a personal point of view, I have been working for, dare I say it, over 30 years, Brogan.
Yeah.
In an industry that has been quite diverse for me. I call myself a creative, and I navigate the world of the creative industries. And everything I do might look disparate, actually. It might look, very, very different, from cooking in a kitchen through to arts workshops, but it all marries. And you come across so many different challenges on a day-to-day basis, on a yearly basis. And I personally feel I've learnt from a lot of challenges and learning curves. Do you feel in your career so far, which is relatively young, do you feel like you've had, some learning curves that have taken you on a different path and a different trajectory?
Yes, massively. I think that when you're in business, and I also don't think that this is spoke about enough, actually, because I think you have a dream of owning your own business and how amazing it could be, and you look at the success and the money, and actually there's a lot more to business than what meets the eye, I guess. And social media's played a massive part in that, because you look at everybody and you think, oh my God, they might be driving a Lambo, or they've got so much money in this. And it comes with its challenges,
of course,
for sure.
It does.
And I think along your journey, you are faced with challenges that you would never have anticipated. And certainly in my personal journey, there's been some major learning curves that actually now, in hindsight, I'm really grateful for, because it's taught me a lot.
Good.
It's taught me a lot about myself. It's taught me a lot about business and people in general, actually. And I'm grateful for it, and I think that it's made me a much stronger person and a much stronger business person, because if I hadn't have had the obstacles that I've had, I wouldn't know what I know now. So yeah, it makes you a better business person.
It toughens you up, for want of a better word.
Yeah, it does.
And resilience is definitely embedded, sometimes on a day-to-day basis, but it's good. The challenges, without sounding like a cliche, it's the challenges that make us stronger.
Yeah.
They can make us or break us, Brogan. And it's wonderful to see that, you are shining and doing probably more, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes the challenges actually push us into becoming that more and that extra, if you like. So you'd be armed with the knowledge that anything can happen on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And that's good. So, okay, moving on to some more softer questions, which are a bit more fun. I always like to ask my guests about their favourite part of Yorkshire, but I'm going to learn a little bit from you today, Brogan, because these questions are northeast based. So what's your favourite part, Brogan, of the northeast, and why? And what would be your perfect idea of a day out in the northeast?
Oh, that one's really hard. So
I'm picturing you in your camper van, by the way. I shouldn't call it a camper van, it's a mobile home, sorry.
No, you can call it that. Although George would be like, no, it's a motorhome.
Okay, motorhome. Rephrase that.
Perfect. So I think the northeast is beautiful, but obviously I'm slightly biased, but I do think it's beautiful.
Name a place.
I love South Shields and North Shields. South Shields is just my sacred place. I absolutely love it. I've loved it from being a child. If I've ever gone through, like when I lost my granddad, anything like that, I will, you will find me in South Shields, and there is just a gorgeous beach. It doesn't get the credit that it deserves,
Really?
I don't think.
But is it the best kept secret though?
I'm not
is
sure
that a good
if it's
thing?
a secret. I don't think it's a secret, but it's just, people might go after listening to this and think, oh my God, she was off her head. But I love it.
I've never been, so I'm going to go.
No, you
Okay.
must go. It's got a gorgeous beach. It's kept very clean on the front.
Good.
And if you continue to walk along the promenade, and there's some cliffs at the very end, if you continue to walk, there's like a cove where there's loads of pebbles, and I can just sit there for hours and just listen to the waves. But yeah, no, I think that's probably one of my favourite places. And above that, Durham. I love Durham city centre. I think it's just gorgeous.
Again, I just don't think it gets enough airtime, Brogan. So I think your duty and your responsibility as Northern businesswoman is to bang the drum of Durham and the beautiful beach. I'm definitely going to. How far is it, by the way? How far would it take for me to drive?
To South Shields? Probably about an hour and 45.
I could pack a picnic.
Yeah. I mean, there's some the fish and chip shops, and there's also some really good restaurants there.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's the weather like?
I mean, it's, especially at this time, it's
bit blustery.
cold. Yeah, it's cold.
Oh, I love the sound of that. Might just take myself up there this weekend.
It's gorgeous. I mean, I love it. North Shields as well. That's really good.
Nice places to stay? Bed and breakfast?
Sure, actually. I don't know. I've never stayed there. I just drive there and back.
Might just have to borrow your motorhome, actually.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'd love that. I would absolutely love that. So in the world of business, and again, I use that term very loosely because, you know, women are starting businesses at home, cottage industries, businesses working from their kitchen table. Is there a businesswoman in particular that you really admire?
Yes, is the answer to that. I do have a businesswoman that I really admire, and I really hope she doesn't mind me saying her name, but I'll say it.
Go for it.
She's called Emma Black, and I think that she's relatable. She's a powerhouse of a woman. She has 2 children, and
What's her business?
She has an investment company, so it's Cascade Management. And she manages people's cash. I hope I'm saying that right as well. And she's very open with her journey, and also they just lovely people is the only way that I can describe the family as a whole. And Emma's the businesswoman within the family, and they just want to help. They will help you. They will inspire you. They will share their lows, their highs, their indifferences. And I think it makes it relatable, because I think there is a lot of people out there that are successful, but they don't want you to know about it. Like, they don't want you to know how they got there, or they're kind of reluctant to share their experiences, where Emma in particular isn't like that. And as a woman in business that has also had a child, I really admire her telling me her story. And I also think she's awesome and really successful. So I think that she would be my businesswoman that I'd look up to.
Well, I hope she tunes in and sees that she's inspired you clearly, Brogan. And takes me on to the next question. Is there an inspiring businessman?
Her brother.
Her brother?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah, so like I said, their family is just awesome. Actually, she's got twin brothers, and both of them are awesome.
I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, they're just a brilliant family, and I've known them I've been lucky. I've known them for some time now. My mum actually works for her brother, and my mum speaks so highly of the family as a whole, and the people that work with them as well. So he's just got an incredible team, and they're all really cool guys and girls. Yeah. And I feel really grateful, Freda, if I'm completely honest, to be surrounded by people that are so successful, but they know where they've come from, and they know their values, and they also know how to treat people.
It's humbling, isn't it, Brogan?
Yeah.
Because business should not be cutthroat or competitive. It should be inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. So yeah, he would be the inspirational business person.
Oh, lovely. Well, I'm sure they will be honoured to be mentioned by you, Brogan. Don't forget how incredible you are in all of this journey as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which draws us to a natural end to this really inspiring and uplifting interview with you today, Brogan. I've learnt so much more about you. Thank you for sharing your journey.
Thank you.
And thank you for being so amenable. And I'm hoping that our audience, I'm pretty sure our audience will see that too.
Thank you very much. No, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Thanks.
And if any of the Yorkshire listeners wants to get involved in the Northern Business Magazine, please just get in touch.
Absolutely. And Brogan's details will be shared,
Thank you.
as always, on our numerous platforms.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brogan.
Thanks.
This is the Yorkshire Businesswoman podcast. To join the Yorkshire Businesswoman Network and find out more, visit our website, yorkshirebusinesswoman.co.uk, or find us on Instagram or LinkedIn. This podcast was produced by This Is Distorted.